building a better Bay Area for a safe and secure future. This is ABC7 News.
It's been half a year. March, April, May, June, July, August, September. 6 months since 7 million people in 6 Bay Area counties started to shelter in place.
It feels like forever, doesn't it? Alameda, Contra Costa, Marin, San Mateo, San Francisco, and Santa Clara. They all ordered everyone to restrict travel and activities only to essential tasks.
6 months ago today, we had no way of knowing what our community and our country was facing, and still is.
This is not the time to panic.
People are just panic buying is all it amounts to.
No chicken at all. They don't have eggs.
Only a few rolls of paper towels left, but as far as toilet paper, you can see it is completely gone.
I want to take you now to a live look showing you the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza here where things are very light.
It's a normally busy street. You can see the gates are closed.
Never seen my kids so desperate trying to go back to school.
In mid-March, the bustling Bay Area suddenly stopped.
I want you to listen to something. It is so quiet out here. You can actually hear the birds.
Work went remote. Traffic disappeared. Small businesses suffered.
Whether it's today, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's Friday, I'm eventually not going to have it. I'm going to be unemployed.
One day, we had over $1 million of cancellations. It's basically our entire business and all my life savings and all my employees' jobs.
California's EDD processed more unemployment claims in a month than in all of last year. By May, protesters wanted an end to the shelter-in-place rules.
California needs to open up. People need to go back to work.
A week later, California entered stage 2, allowing businesses to offer curbside pickup. Soon, counties were getting state approval to open up dine-in restaurants and shopping malls. The state moved into stage 3 just after Memorial Day, allowing us to get haircuts again.
They had at me. It was a family effort to remove what was described by my wife as, forgive me, a mullet.
Sheltering in place had paid off, flattening the curve of new coronavirus cases in the Bay Area. In June, that curve changed shape. Case counts climbed. Reopenings at both the state and county level were revised and sometimes reversed.
Our plans to reopen a number of businesses will be put on pause.
It is a heavy blow.
We were able to suppress the spread of this virus. We were able to knock down the growth of this in the beginning. We're going to do that again.
But we didn't. A big decision was made in mid-July. Most students wouldn't go back to class when school started in the fall.
I feel extremely relieved that safety and health seem to be the #1 consideration.
But there isn't consideration for what working parents are going to do. Working parents can't teach, and elementary school kids can't be on Zoom for 6 hours a day by themselves.
The state used a watch list, then changed to a color-coded system to determine which businesses can resume. More coronavirus activity means more restrictions, fewer businesses open, and greater struggles that hit home here in the Bay Area every day.
We need to reopen. I don't know how else to say it, because I have barbers that are, that are behind on rent, barbers that have family members, kids that they have to feed, including myself.
It's sad to see so many places closed.
I'm scared that they're going to evict me, and I have a 16-year-old daughter, and my husband and my husband's mom, we all live here.
It is very confusing because things change overnight. We're going day by day, just trying to survive.
I may relocate my businesses. I may run for mayor. I don't know.
I've been through hell this past 6 months.
It has been a really tough time for so many people, and that's why we've recommitted ourselves to building a better Bay Area with a focus on 5 core areas: our changing workplaces, education, racial and social justice, our health and the economy, Building a better Bay Area is about looking for solutions and improvements to the issues that we all face. Now, when it comes to the economy, there is help on the way for California's essential workers. Today, Governor Newsom signed 2 pieces of legislation that expand rules to help keep workers safe from COVID-19 and assist them if they do get it. Senate Bill 1159 by Peninsula Democrat Jerry Hill provides full hospital, surgical, medical, disability, and indemnity benefits to essential workers who are presumed to have contracted COVID-19 on the job.
I think what we did is we focused on what was right and just, rather than what is popular and easy. And that's something that California always does.
The governor also signed Assembly Bill 685, which makes sure that workers are informed if there's been a workplace exposure to COVID-19. Now, numbers released today show a slight decline in the number of newly filed unemployment claims, 860,000 in the past week. But we have to put that number in better perspective. Before the pandemic hit, that number had never exceeded 700,000, even in the depths of the Great Recession back in 2008. The U.S. Labor Department says 12.6 million people are collecting traditional unemployment benefits, compared with 1.7 million a year ago. Filing for unemployment benefits doesn't actually mean you get them. 7 on Your Side has spent months helping Californians cut through the red tape at the EDD, and Michael Finney will join us live later tonight with that part of the story.
From the economy to education, another area where the pandemic's impact is palpable. Today, the largest school district in Santa Clara County, San Jose Unified, announced online learning will continue for the rest of this year.
A lot of kids in a classroom, even if we went 12, that is an indoor gathering. And we don't think that that's safe.
School districts around the Bay Area are grappling with how and when to reopen. Union negotiations play a large role.
If you're a unified district, that's harder because the union may take the position what's good for one is good for all. What's not good for one is not good for all. Therefore, that's a harder negotiation to make.
In San Francisco, ABC7 News was told the union's bargaining team is preparing for 3 meetings next week with the school district. The Oakland Education Association, on the other hand, informed us it hasn't negotiated with the school district and no talks around schools reopening are scheduled. Now, imagine a school where elementary kids and teachers could be together, but mostly outside, safely distanced with masks except when eating. ABC7 News reporter Laura Anthony shows us the reality.
No prefab plastic play structures here, where the playground is made up of mostly natural features, and specially designed tree stumps serve as outdoor desks. It's a small, nonprofit school in El Cerrito that's serving as a model for the Bay Area and beyond.
We're trying to help schools think about outdoor learning as the new Plan A.
Berkeley-based Green Schoolyards America is now partnering with the Lawrence Hall of Science and others to create the National COVID-19 Outdoor Learning Initiative.
Instead of coming back into session online or inside, we're trying to help them think about how they could be outside as a first priority.
At the Golistan School, younger students are in classrooms designed to be as much outdoor as indoor, while older elementary-age kids spend their day almost entirely outside.
Number one for us was to create a protocol that prioritizes the safety of teachers first, and then by default the children are safe as well. So we've been bringing in districts in groups of 12 or less in working groups for them to see firsthand what this can look like.
Bay Area designers are donating their services to help expand the outdoor initiative to many other schools.
In the past, we've been able to design outdoor classroom spaces. Maybe it was an assembly space or a breakout zone from individual classrooms, but this is the first time we've had to try to consider social distancing.
Much of what was set up here outside was temporary, meant to deal with the pandemic. But the hope is, going forward, it becomes a permanent part of the future.
We hope that schools that are coming outside right now will find themselves so comfortable that they'll want to stay.
In El Cerrito, Laura Anthony, ABC7 News.
We spent a week focused on education issues during the pandemic, and all those stories are available on ABC7News.com and on our connected TV apps, available on Apple TV, Android TV, Fire TV, and Roku.
We started to shelter in place in order to slow the spread of the coronavirus and protect our health. So, how did we do? We'll take a look at the numbers then versus now, next.
I lost normality in 2018. Most people just lost it in 2020.
She is a COVID-19 survivor with a remarkable perspective.
I'm Spencer Christian. We had bluer skies and cleaner air today, and there's more of that on the way. I'll have the AccuWeather forecast.
And ABC7 has partnered with the Red Cross and more than a dozen ABC stations to raise money for wildfire evacuees. We just got new numbers in for our day of giving. So far, $446,407 has been donated. You can donate online or over the phone. Donate online at redcross.org/ABC. You can also call this number until 7 o'clock, 866-499-GIVE. That's 866-499-4483. The foundation of our efforts to build a better Bay Area during the pandemic is to focus on our health. 6 months since we started to shelter in place, we are seeing an improvement. The numbers released today by the state show a continual decline in the number of new cases reported each day, as you can see on this graph. Coronavirus claimed the lives of 106 Californians recently. Fewer patients are in the hospital. That number has been dropping steadily since mid-July. And the test positivity rate, the percentage of coronavirus tests coming back positive, continues to drop. The 14-day average is at a new low of 3.5%. We started to shelter in place to slow the spread of coronavirus. So how did the numbers compare then versus now? ABC7 News anchor Kumasi Aaron gives us some perspective.
On day one, March 17th, there were 375 diagnosed cases of coronavirus in the Bay Area. We were averaging 56 new cases per day. The day we locked down, there were 6,000 cases nationwide. The virus was in all 50 states, with West Virginia the last state to announce its first case. At that point, the death toll in America had just cleared 100. And around the world, there were fewer than 200,000 diagnosed cases, and 8,000 people had died. Today, the worldwide case total is approaching 30 million. COVID-19 has claimed more than 900,000 lives globally, including nearly 200,000 in the United States, which is more than any other country. In America, a total of 6.6 million cases have been diagnosed. Here in the Bay Area, we're approaching 100,000 cases, at an average of 536 new cases diagnosed per day. That's nearly 10 times the rate from March. Kumasi Aaron, ABC7 News.
Our perspective sure has changed a lot in the time we've had to deal with this virus. Check out the reaction I had back in March when I asked our ABC7 special correspondent, Dr. Alok Patel, how long this pandemic and the shelter in place might last.
With regards to public health, I could see it being the larger part of this year because we really have to slow things down. Do I think, I mean, we're just gambling on live television. Okay. Do I think we're going to have a shutdown of schools and all this for that long? I don't. Okay. But I think this is going to change the way we kind of look at transmission of disease.
Well, Dr. Patel then talked about this graph showing what a difference protective measures can make on the spike in the number of cases. The goal was to flatten the curve. Remember, we said that probably a million times, to keep the number of cases within our healthcare system's capacity. Now, we spoke with Dr. Patel again today and asked him about his predictions for the next 6 months.
There are some unknowns we're heading into over the next 6 months. We have no idea what winter is going to do to coronavirus. We don't know what's going to happen when people are more likely to congregate indoors, or what viral transmission will look like in that colder, drier air. What could possibly happen when influenza, RSV, these other respiratory viruses come into contact in the same body as coronavirus? We don't know what this is going to mean. It makes me think of those books we used to read back in like the 80s and 90s, the choose your own adventure book. Because I honestly think one thing everyone has to pay attention to is we are literally choosing our own adventure in the next 6 months. And it could either be towards less cases and more reopenings, or towards a disaster.
Fewer cases.
Or it could be both, because, Amma, I mean, we're coming up on 200,000 deaths in the U.S. I never would have imagined that number when we spoke with the doctor 6 months ago.
I know, it's so sad, and I was just shocked seeing the two of you sitting at the same table in the same space. That's how much life has changed. That seems weird to me, because look at us now. You're in studio, I'm at home, and Spencer's at his home. It's just crazy, Larry.
Yeah, this is our new normal. Spencer, your thoughts before you get into the weather?
Yeah, well, I was about to say the same words. This is our new normal, and we don't know how much even this phase of normal is going to change over the next 6 months going into next year.
Good point.
But we're all doing all we can to adjust and try to maintain our sanity. So let's do weather, I guess.
Yes.
Here's a look at what's going on right now with improved air quality today. We have bluer skies and cleaner air, and right now you see green dots all over our map in virtually all locations around the Bay Area, indicating good air quality, which is a wonderful thing, as we haven't had that for a while. Thanks to this onshore flow, the air is a lot cleaner. We've got a fairly substantial marine layer. Is giving us surface winds right now from 15 to over 20 miles per hour in some spots, and it has had a refreshing effect, no doubt. So tomorrow we expect good to moderate air quality again, although there's a little advisory here that due to smoke impacts from wildfires, we may see a decline in air quality over the weekend, as some smoke is likely to return to the Bay Area then. 24-hour temperature change shows most locations are a few degrees cooler than they were at this time yesterday. Here's a look at our current reading: 65 degrees in San Francisco, 71 at Oakland. We've got mid-70s at Mountain View and San Jose, 82 at Gilroy, 63 at Half Moon Bay. And looking back toward the city from Emeryville, 79 degrees right now up north at Santa Rosa, Novato 81, 79 at Napa, 87 at Fairfield, 82 Concord, 78 at Livermore. And these are our forecast features as we get a view across the Embarcadero from the rooftop camera. Morning fog and patchy drizzle will be with us again tomorrow morning. It'll be cooler and breezier tomorrow afternoon, and smokier and warmer over the weekend. Forecast animation shows the advance of that marine layer across the bay and locally inland overnight, and you can see little patches of green showing up there. There'll be some scattered areas of drizzle during the overnight and early morning hours tomorrow. And overnight lows, by the way, will be generally in the low 60s, so still a bit mild, even though our daytime weather is getting cooler. Highs tomorrow will range from mid-60s at the coast to low 70s around the bay to low 80s in the warmest inland spots. And here's that smoke forecast. You see the greens and yellows for tomorrow indicating moderate to good air quality, but look at the purple coming back in on Saturday and Sunday, as smoke from our north will probably be pulled back down into the Bay Area by the shift in wind direction. So be prepared for some decline in air quality over the weekend, although we're not, no one's calling for a spare the air day yet, but we're under an advisory, so be prepared. Here's the AccuWeather 7-day forecast. Cool down tomorrow, a possible morning drizzle once again. Hazy and warmer on Saturday. We expect to see some of that smoke return to the Bay Area. Then even smokier on Sunday and warmer on Sunday, with inland highs up around 90 degrees on Sunday upper 70s around the Bay shoreline, upper 60s on the coast. Then the last day of summer actually will bring cooler weather on Monday, appropriately enough, as we go into the first day of fall on Tuesday. The autumnal equinox occurs at 6:31 a.m. Next Tuesday, and we'll have cooler weather by a few degrees as fall arrives, but then it's going to warm up a little bit more on Wednesday and Thursday of next week. So first day of fall cools down, the next 2 days seem more like summer. Basically, it looks like a very nice week ahead, Larry and Amma.
All right. I mean, you talk about the fires, the smoke, plus the pandemic. We will never forget 2020 for all the wrong reasons,
no, we won't.
Right? Thank you, Spencer.
Yeah.
I was one of the very first cases, not only in California, but in the nation.
She survived COVID-19, including weeks of self-quarantine. Compared to what else she's been through, that was relatively easy.
During the pandemic, we created an ongoing limited series that we call the COVID-19 Diaries. Our most recent episode brings us back to a San Francisco woman who was one of the first diagnosed coronavirus cases. What she went through hardly compares to what she's been through before.
My first name is Maria Leticia, the whole thing, and last name is Gomez, Gomez. I started having symptoms 3 days after I went iPhone shopping. I was one of the very first cases, not only in California, but in the nation.
On Friday night, as I was driving home from work, I got a text from my wife, and it simply said, I have a fever. I'm trying to maintain a distance from her. I barely go into our bedroom just to drop off food for her. She's going nuts, staying in the bedroom.
I want to get out.
You have now tested positive.
I have been very private about a very difficult cancer treatment that I finished. I was homebound for 1.5 years. Now I'm isolated in this bedroom. It kind of sends me back to those days, and those are days I want to forget. I completely lost my sense of smell and taste because of COVID-19. For a moment there, I thought my brain tumor was growing.
Ready to come out?
Yes.
So how was it being in isolation for so long?
It was hard. I feel a bit like crying right now.
Everything went back to normal about a month and a half after my diagnosis. I was very tired for quite a while, but I think I recuperated without any problems. I don't think I have any remnants or any symptoms that, long-term that I'm aware of. I was diagnosed in June of 2018. And less than 2 years later, those 2 years I was homebound most of the time. And right when I was, regained my strength, my energy, and I was clear to go back out in the world, this hit, and I'm kind of locked back in the house, but this time around with everyone else. It's just rough. I really yearn for normality, whatever that is. I lost normality in 2018. Most people just lost it in 2020, but I hope that all of us get to find a new way of living that we'll get to enjoy again.
Let's hope so. What a story, huh? You could see all of the COVID-19 Diaries limited series episodes right now at ABC7news.com and wherever you find the ABC7 News app.
The coronavirus pandemic has brought back memories of the AIDS crisis. The politicians may be different now, but the struggles are the same, and they could make a life and death difference.
I'm Wayne Friedman. Movie theaters are opening again, but are people coming back? That's coming up.
And join us tonight for ABC7 News at 11. Fertility fraud. An East Bay woman alleges her doctor used his own sperm to impregnate her. Tonight, we're learning disturbing new details about the case.
I'm Amanda Del Casillo in San Jose. Delivery minus the threat of COVID-19 and bad air quality. At 11, a Bay Area business partnering robots and restaurants.
Building a better Bay Area for a safe and secure future. This is ABC7 News.
The coronavirus has done more than just infect individuals. It's invaded our way of life as well, and that includes our political debate, which is fractured over a single disease in a way we haven't seen perhaps since the 1980s.
ABC7 News anchor Dan Ashley examines this side of the COVID-19 crisis.
Not since the AIDS crisis has a disease been so political. And much of the fight against COVID-19 has clearly split along America's political fault lines. From debates over restarting schools to reopening businesses to perhaps the most visible symbol of all, whether to even wear a mask in public.
The yelling and the calling people stupid on both sides, by the way, I think it is absolutely not doing us any good.
UCSF researcher Dr. Monica Gandhi recently led a groundbreaking study on the benefits of masking and worries about the effects of mistrust and cynicism in our national dialogue. And there's growing evidence for concern. In a recent Kaiser Family Foundation poll, more than half of Americans say they wouldn't get a COVID vaccine shot if it became available before the November election, with the majority fearing it could be rushed into use in an effort to aid the president. Dr. Yvonne Maldonado says trust is critical to any effective vaccine program.
If we don't produce a safe vaccine, we will lose the confidence of the public.
While new studies suggest the percentage of Americans with health insurance has dropped since the beginning of the pandemic, potentially setting the stage for even more divisive debates down the road over the availability of new COVID drugs and vaccines. Sadly familiar to UCSF researcher Dr. Eric Goosby, who spent much of his early career fighting HIV.
It speaks to a need for healthcare reform in a big way. And that's another discussion. But boy, did COVID show us we have not got this covered.
Dan Ashley, ABC7 News.
Soon, coronavirus might be only part of our health concerns. Instead of a pandemic, we may face a twindemic as flu season ramps up. Medical experts are urging the public to get a flu shot as soon as possible. The strains of influenza that are circulating in the community can change over time, so it's important to get vaccinated every year.
What the flu vaccine will do is prevent you from ending up in the hospital and making sure that we have hospital availability for those who do have COVID who are very sick.
The interaction between COVID and influenza is not yet that well understood, but we have every reason to suspect that if they were to happen together in the same person, it could be much more severe.
Look at this flu season as something of a dress rehearsal for how it could look to receive a COVID-19 vaccine in the future.
The pandemic has put us in a unique position for the past 6 months, sharing an experience while being told to isolate from one another as much as possible. Outside the San Francisco Ferry Building today, we asked people what it's been like.
It's been an experience hopefully once in a lifetime only. I'm sad to see what it's done to the city.
It's getting tiring, and I think it's getting on everybody's nerves. It's getting boring. My cooking routine is getting boring.
There's a lot of boring out there. Boredom has been a universal part of this experience. I mean, all the fun stuff in our lives just shut down or it stopped entirely. Most of us, we've gone months without get-togethers with family or getaways, trips, vacations, no festivals. Our favorite sports were on hold for months. But as the pandemic wanes, we're slowly but surely regaining what was taken away. Here's ABC7 News reporter Wayne Friedman.
Name one experience more comfortably casual than a matinee.
So is this a date?
Of sorts, yeah.
After 3 years together, it better be. Bo Greenmeyer and Teresa Riley of Napa about to renew the kind of outing that may come soon to a theater near you, that being able to go.
How long has it been?
About 6 months.
That's half a year during which so much has changed. The Cinemark-owned Century Theaters in Napa have been open for a couple of weeks. In Marin, they open tomorrow at 25% capacity.
I've missed it a lot. I've just missed coming here with friends and family. It gives us something to do, like kind of stuck at home.
It's nice to see a movie and not have to sit in your bed while watching it.
Our industry has never had to close because of a global pandemic.
What you see in Napa is now an industry standard, from stricter guidelines for serving snacks to cleaning regimens to wearing masks. Once you sit down, the mask can come off and stay off until you stand up again. But it's not like the old days where you'd walk into an auditorium and pick your own seat. Now, a computer does it for you. And you'll notice that in front and behind, areas are taped off. Social distancing
How has the relationship survived?
A lot of Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix is our best friend right now.
And it's a concern. Since 2000, theater attendance has dropped by about 1.5% a year, with 2019 being the lowest. Then COVID-19 added another challenge.
You know, if you look back at VHS and DVD and streaming, and there's always been something that was going to kill the movie theaters. But the fact of the matter is we're a stable, mature industry.
And now one in recovery mode. When Teresa and Bo sat down, they had the entire auditorium to themselves.
It's like a private screening.
Right, yeah.
You dig that?
Just for us.
In Napa, Wayne Friedman, ABC7 News.
It's kind of nice being in there on your own. Well, we've turned online more and more because of the pandemic. For a look back at our coverage when the shutdown started and some of our most popular and compelling stories from the last 6 months, download our ABC7 News Connected TV app. It's available on Apple TV, Android TV, Fire TV, and Roku.
Just when we needed EDD to step up, it left millions without their unemployment benefits. I'm Michael Finney. Coming up, a look back at the struggles.
As we all fight the coronavirus pandemic, California is mandating face masks to stop the spread. That's why ABC7 wants to remind you to wear a mask for you, your loved ones, and your community. Please, wear because you care.
California was basking in record low unemployment when the pandemic hit. Then it roared to a record high practically overnight. But as millions lost their jobs, the EDD buckled under the weight of the claims, and workers could not get their benefits. And for many, the only hope was contacting 7 on your side. Michael Finney to the rescue, live now with the story of so many struggles, Michael.
Look, this is what we've been working on nonstop since the pandemic really hit. Look, we needed the EDD to be super efficient. It wasn't. And to this day, 1 million Californians are still waiting for benefits.
The immense amount of tears that were shed and sleepless nights.
Since March 18th, I have no income.
I'm nervous. I'm getting scared.
It came as a shock. Their longtime jobs suddenly gone.
Some 4.6 million of you have filed for unemployment claims.
The numbers just kept climbing.
Cash flow stopped immediately.
I'll get another job. I just don't know when.
I can't go out and find a job because there are no jobs out there.
We are at a time that's simply unprecedented.
The Federal CARES Act came through with generous benefits, but the EDD wasn't ready to deliver.
We were told that we were going to get benefits. Why are we not getting benefits? I must have called them hundreds of times.
It'll tell you right then and there, you're not going to talk to anybody.
We are unable to take your call. Goodbye.
You've got to be put into a queue and wait 3 months.
Not having a voice, not having any recourse.
You'll be notified by mail of your eligibility. Well,
months passed, no benefits, no answers.
Thank you for calling the Employment Development Department.
Only automated responses from the EDD.
We are currently receiving more calls than we can answer and are unable to assist you at this time.
not once have I reached a human being that was alive.
It's like something's wrong. That's why I kept calling.
We have hired or at least extended conditional job offers to more than 4,300 people to come on board and help us here at the EDDs.
They've hired all these people that can't resolve it, can't even answer the phone.
The woman transferred me to another person who knew less than her.
Savings wiped out, emotions raw.
I'm literally down to less than $100 right now.
I'm just getting nervous now because, you know, I'm looking at every dime I spend.
They're going through a tough time and they're entitled to these unemployment benefits, and it is completely unacceptable that so many people have not received their benefits long after applying for it.
On top of everything, the EDD has been plagued by scammers filing fraudulent claims, paying them possibly millions in benefits, while honest workers still wait. Struggling workers flooded 7 on Your Side with emails asking for help. And together with lawmakers, we've helped unleash their benefits.
The money was in my account the next day. It was shocking.
I'm okay now. This is good. I'm going to be okay.
Got a smile on my face again.
Don't give up. Have patience. Call 7 on Your Side because they are on your side.
Absolutely. Please let us know the problems you're having. We'll work on it. We're not 100% successful, but we're doing a lot better than the majority of the people out there. Now, look, Governor Newsom appointed a task force to investigate what's going on with the EDD. We're expecting a report back any day now. Larry, I'll be reading that report, and so you don't have to. I'll report back, and we'll have some comments on it as well.
I imagine that's going to be a lengthy report. I was thinking, Michael, if we could just clone Michael Finney. We need like a dozen Michael Finneys, at least a dozen. If we could get that technology, we could have this, or maybe just put you in charge of the EDD. Would you like that?
Oh, absolutely. You know, now, maybe. We got to get this fixed.
Yeah.
It's very disturbing.
All right. I'm pushing for you. Thank you, Michael.
Because of the pandemic, we've all grown familiar with the idea of work from home. Next, a behind-the-scenes look at weather from home with ABC7 News meteorologist Drew Tuma. Plus, ABC7 News weather anchor Spencer Christian will have our 7-day forecast.
One more reminder, ABC7 has partnered with the Red Cross and more than a dozen ABC stations for a day of giving to raise money for wildfire evacuees. So far, $446,407 has been donated. We're trying to push to get to $500K. You can donate online or over the phone, online at redcross.org/ABC. You can also call this number until 7 o'clock, 866-499-GIVE, 866-499-4483.
One of the noticeable changes in the past 6 months has been what you're seeing right now. We're working from home like a lot of you are. ABC7 News meteorologist Drew Tuma shares this behind-the-scenes look at doing weather from home.
Hi guys, it's meteorologist Drew Tuma showing you how I go live doing the weather for my house. Right now we're in my kitchen. I'm sitting on a stool in my island, and what you really need first is good lighting to go from home. And this is a ring light that my fiance bought me to make the lighting just super great wherever you are inside your house. And then we have my work phone, which has an app that allows me to live stream directly into KGO and then right into your homes wherever you're viewing us to do the weather. Now the graphics, I put them right here on my home computer. We actually dial into the system at work at KGO, and we have access to our entire library of graphics, including temperatures and important air quality info that we give you every day during wildfire season.
And like everyone else, nothing ever goes wrong at home, right, Larry?
My God, I wish I had a video of me the first night, because our director tonight, Chris, was like 2 minutes before we go on, he says, tell your cameraman to iris up a little bit. And I go, there's no cameraman. And so he's trying to guide me through the instructions of, there's a button. No, not that button. And I'm turning things. He says, you're making it worse. And, you know, just like
Do I cut the red wire?
Exactly. Yeah, it's like disarming a bomb. So, man, it's not, when it works, it's fantastic. And look at this, it's working perfectly. Crystal clear. Spencer Christian live from his house.
Oh, yeah, perfectly well. So far. Let me give you a look at my crystal clear forecast for tonight. By the way, Drew did a great job of describing what we do. We'll have low clouds and fog and drizzle as we have had the last couple of nights. Overnight lows will be in the low 60s. Then tomorrow, my computer is working. Yay. We'll see breezy conditions, cooler than today. Cleaner air once again tomorrow. Highs ranging from 60s at the coast to low 70s around the bay to about 80 inland. Here's the AccuWeather 7-day forecast. It's going to warm up over the weekend. However, the wind flow will shift and start to pull smoke back into the area again. So look for a decline in air quality over the weekend as it warms up. And Tuesday of next week, we have the arrival of autumn, 6:31 a.m. On Tuesday. Enjoy.
All right.
It went smoothly.
We will.
Can you believe that?
Thank you, Spencer. Yes, it did. You made it all the way through. No
The
glitches.
equipment always works. We know that. I'm in for Dan. Chris Alvarez handling sports. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Larry. Coming up in sports, we look at how the pandemic has affected the sports world, from temperature checks to stadiums filled with cardboard cutouts. We'll take a look at how the Bay Area teams are adjusting during the COVID era. Explain that in sports.
Now, ABC7 Sports with Chris Alvarez.
Well, sports in 2020 have changed as we know it. Back on March 11th, the NBA became the first major pro sports league to shut down due to COVID-19. Now, if you remember earlier that day, the Warriors announced they were going to play a game at Chase Center the following day, March 12th, with no fans. Just hours after that, Utah Jazz center Rudy Gobert tested positive for COVID-19, prompting a shutout of the NBA and all sports to follow. Sports have since returned, but everything is much different than before.
The normal roar of the crowd and fans packed in the stands have given way to this. Masks and social distancing have been a top priority for the players and coaches competing.
I mean, being out there with masks on is definitely different, but again, we were doing that in Arizona, so I guess I've gotten used to it a little bit. There's ways to protect ourselves, and everyone needs to stay in the hotels at night and not go to dinner, not go to the bars. As hard as that is, you know, it needs to happen, and we need to make sacrifices this year.
You pretend that everybody has it, and you keep your distance, and you take your precautions. At least you know you did everything you could.
Here at Oracle Park, this is where I pick up my credential, and as you can see, the signage, they are doing everything to keep us safe and remind us to fight the spread here of COVID-19.
Media access has been changed to tiers, with all interviews being conducted via virtual video conferences.
How excited are you in this kind of a sprint of a season where you're essentially starting in what would normally be like August?
There'll be a little bit more urgency to each team to win games.
The San Jose Earthquakes made their return to play in the MLS bubble in Orlando. Back here in the Bay, the team hosted socially distanced, free drive-in viewing parties for their fans to enjoy.
You know, everyone understands the protocols and understands the situations that we are in. Obviously, I would love to be in front of fans and to have a packed stadium. It's nice to play a game and just to be out there, and even for 90 minutes, just to be in that element.
Chase Center last hosted an event in March. Since then, the arena has become one of the safest in the world.
We earned the GBAC Star accreditation. It's the industry's gold standard when it comes to cleaning and disinfecting for disease mitigation. So this is more than just using soap and water. This is making sure that we are applying the highest standards and protocols to keep our guests safe. The number one thing we do here at Chase Center is keep people safe, and now it's about keeping them safe from the virus.
Last month, the 49ers returned to Santa Clara to prepare for an NFL season unlike any other.
So many people have been working their tails off to equip this place such that our players feel comfortable and their families feel comfortable and our staff feels comfortable. Does that assure us of anything? No, but it sure allows us to mitigate any risk.
Now, this past Sunday, the Niners opened the regular season at Levi Stadium without fans. Meanwhile, the Kansas City Chiefs opened their season at home last Thursday at about 22% capacity. One fan actually testing positive for COVID-19. That is, the team is now doing contact tracing, including parking and ticket scanning data. They've also identified 10 people who had close contact with that individual and notified them to go into quarantine. And Larry, tonight, Cleveland Browns are playing with about 6,000 fans socially distanced. I think the Cowboys also have fans, but we'll have to keep track of all of this. I know people want to get fans in the stands as far as a business and just maybe a sense of normalcy, but got to be safe, mask up, and keep your distance if we want to have any sense of normalcy this year.
Well, that's the scary part. You want to go back to a game, and then some random person, I mean, it can infect a whole bunch of people. So, I mean, we need a vaccine desperately, and we need to wear masks. I know it's not fun, but we just have to until we get past this, Amma.
Yeah, I mean, for everybody, for the greater good, I mean, we just got to do it. And I mean, if we could just do it for a certain amount of time, it will help in the long run. So just, you know, buck up and do it.
Well, you know, Canada, 0 new cases last week. It can be done. Clearly, it can be done.
Jeez.
We have not done it that well.
No, we haven't. All right, Chris, thank you. All right, before we leave you, we have some perspective on what we've been through and what lies ahead. Here's ABC7 News anchor Dan Ashley.
Finally tonight, a few thoughts about what really matters as we mark 6 months since the coronavirus crashed into our lives. 6 months and maybe another 6 or more before it's truly over. But when it is over, a lot of things will go back to normal. A lot of things won't. I don't know about you, but I've learned to wash my hands constantly. That habit will likely stick. How about hugging and shaking hands with everybody? Will you be ready to go back to that, or will an elbow bump suffice? What about masks? After this passes, will they stay with us? Post-pandemic, we probably should wear them in public when we're sick. Imagine how less severe the cold and flu season would be. Brick and mortar businesses have been decimated. One study suggesting 60% that closed during the pandemic will never reopen. Our shopping habits shifted violently. When we couldn't go out to get our stuff, we got the stuff to come to us. Working from home, virtual meetings, sports with fake crowd noise, so much changed so quickly. But we adapted, and what really matters is that's what we do. I always love to hear from you. Let me know what you think. Follow me on Twitter and Facebook at Dan Ashley ABC7 and watch the latest episode at ABC7news.com.
6 months and we continue on. All right, that is it for this edition of ABC7 News. Look for the news anytime on the ABC7 News app. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Ahmed Dates.
And I'm Larry Beal. For Spencer Christian, Chris Alvarez, all of us here at ABC7 News. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you again tonight at 11.